This is the UNC Charlotte Special Collections Department in Atkins Library. And here we have rare books that you can see around you here. We have University Archives. We have an oral history project. We have local government documents and manuscript collections. We have about 430 manuscript collections. And what I have here are a number of different items, selected items from our collections. Here we have some clay tablets that came from the ancient Sumerian city of Ur, in what is today central Iraq. They're about 4,000 years old. And this is an example of what is known as incunabula. Incunabula is a book that was printed sometime in between about 1450 and 1500. This was printed in the very early days of the history of printing. And you can see that there's some red letters, drop capitals is what they're called, and those were added in by hand after this book was printed. But you wouldn't be able to see it, but if you were here holding this item, you could tell that these letters were imprinted because there is a slight indentation in the paper. And this is called the Sermons of Job, is what we call it. The Latin name is much longer than that. This is an example of a horn book. It was produced sometime in the 18th century. It's rather faded now, but items like these were commonly found in just about every schoolhouse in America and in many places in Europe as well. But it has the alphabet on it, and horn books typically would have something like well, the alphabet plus prayers or things like that. This item is a very early Quran. It was written by hand, so it's a manuscript copy. And it was produced either in the 18th century or early 19th century. So it's about 200 years old. And there's some gold ornamentation on the pages. You can tell that it has to be handled very carefully. The pages are rather brittle. And it does appear to have suffered from some water damage at some point. And this is what's called an accordion book. I'll start out from the beginning with this. This is produced by someone by the name of Jill Tim, and she makes a lot of very unusual books. This one is called Falling Leaves. It has two covers to it, and it's called an accordion book because this part of it extends outward. And there are a number of leaves on these clear sheets of plastic, and this gives it a very much of a three-dimensional quality to it.
Great. Anything else you want to tell us about the archives here? Or?
About the archives. Well, as I mentioned, this place houses the University Archives. So we have any information about the history of the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. In addition to that, we also have manuscript collections. We have about 430 of them. About 390 have been processed and are available for researchers to use. Our collection scope concerns Charlotte and Mecklenburg County and the surrounding counties. So in terms of primary sources, this is one of the better institutions for seeking out primary sources on local history in this area.
Great. Thanks.